All right, have fun with all of these. These are all ones that you can touch and play with. They have instructions next door to them saying the different experiments you can do with each one and how it each links with some topic we cover in space. This one's probably one of my favorites. You just have this weight in this little car and you can increase the inclined plane to make it more and more movement. You can put a shot glass in here. You probably don't want to spill your drink though. Or you can flip it and have a more smooth surface. Or you can flip it even here and it just will pull its weight right up. You can see the car is so much more heavy than the track. This is a screw. The screw just works by, you take this rotational energy to make it screw up or down. You're doing a lot of work to spin that screw, but by spinning it around a bunch, you can push this. This gives it a lot of pressure that it pushes down, so you could squeeze an orange underneath here if you wanted. This is a wedge. You can adjust the rubber bands on it, but simply you're taking this little wedge and shimming it in, and you can see how much force it puts out when you're pushing down. So the force you're applying is going down, and this is applying force going out in either direction. This is probably personally one of my favorites of this too, is the block and tackle. You can be respectful again, like this string isn't going to be strong enough to hold like your entire weight pushing down on this, but try to push down on this or put something heavy on it, and you'll see this lets you lift it with ease. And you can, it just means you have to pull longer and longer to lift it just a little bit. You can unloop some of the pulleys here. You don't have to pull nearly as far to raise it as much, but it takes a lot more effort to pull it the less pulleys you have. So definitely explore that. And last but not least, this is definitely one of my favorites to just crank at, is the gears. So just notice how the middle gear has to turn in the opposite direction that this one's turning, and it's orbital interlocked. This one actually has some of my favorite observations if you read the instructions for it. But yeah, please touch and enjoy all these experiments. Alright, these ones we're looking at different lights through this to see what the component light's made of. Please leave this one at the station. You can feel free to take these diffraction glasses around and look at different lights with them and see what rainbows everything's made of. Please return these to the table when you're done with them. But yeah, at all the crazy colors. This is actually how we see what stars are made of. Each of those colors in the rainbow correspond to a very special transition within the atoms or molecules that make up a star or sun. So breaking it down into that rainbow, we can get an idea of what the star's made of. Alright, this one is another please do touch. You can see its main thing is just be respectful. Don't get these all over the place, and please take them apart when you put them back, and make sure they're still neat in here and we don't lose any of them. But what you're going to start off with is making this dog. Once you make this dog, open this booklet and you'll find what you made. You can do a whole chemical reaction with it. But yeah, and also just enjoy making different chemicals out of it. Alright, this is a holographic telescope. So if you look into this whole very specific way, you'll see a cartoon, you'll see space, you'll see aliens, you'll see it all. And this is all to tell you, don't touch things you're not supposed to. Read all the directions anywhere in the event. Because if you touch something you're not supposed to, that's what happens. An alien eats you. But yeah, really, this is a little fan display on the back of it with a mirror. So what you're seeing is a reflection of a hologram. So that's why it gives it a little bit of a 3D feel, especially the jellyfish is my favorite. That looks really cool through it. But it's actually just a fan with a strip of LEDs that's spinning fast enough. And it sinks in your mind to look like it's actually a screen. This is my alien friend who loves to dance. So sing him your favorite song or hum him a melody and he'll dance with you. What this is actually iron flakes in oil, in two separate types of oil that don't really mix. And so the iron flakes are really reactive to the magnet behind it. And so when you snap or make noise, there's a little microphone that reflects that noise onto a little magnet behind it to make it light up. Also might notice coming off of it is a little projection of the moon. You can see the seas and the craters of the moon. Yeah, you can see the seas, the dark parts of the moon is actually where lava had flown and carved across the craters. So you can see that the lava and volcanoes were on the moon after the craters impacts have happened. Alright, this telescope you might find next to the telescope you're watching this in, or around the event as a decoration. And it is pretty much a decoration. Main thing is, look into this telescope. You don't want to look in too closely, and you want your face fairly well lit, and you'll see your eye looking back at you. That's because what you've been looking for out there has been within the whole time. You can actually see right now it should just be showing you the camera back at it. You can't see anything but what's looking at it, and that's because this is a retroreflector. So this will show whatever angle you look at it, it'll just reflect right back, similar to how the street lights when you shine your headlights, or the street signs when you shine your headlights on them, will illuminate. You can use a laser to shine in this, and it'll shine directly back at the source of the laser. And they actually put one of these on the moon, and that's how, one, we know that we went to the moon, and two, that's also how we can measure the distance to the moon. That's what it's on the moon for. So it's called a retroreflector, and we shoot a laser, and since we know the speed of light, we just measure how long it takes the light to hit that reflector and then get bounced back to Earth, and then we divide that by 2 because it's going there and back, and we can know exactly the distance to the moon with that. So yeah, it's really fun to have a gander. This is another one that's better in the dark. So you can turn on all these lasers, and you can use this mirror to shift where the lasers are looking at. You can use these different optics to make your own telescope. You can see how if you follow one of these lasers, it goes through the lens and then it flips it up. That's why when you look at through a telescope, you see everything upside down. You can try building your own telescope and make one of these so that it flips it to be the right angle. But you'll see now that it's flipping it here, it's even fainter. So it's super bright over here, gets fainter here, and then it's even fainter here. So we can make a telescope, shows you things right side up, but it would show you everything dimmer. And when we're using a telescope, we want to look at really dim things and want to make them bright. So the less optics we have on it, we'd rather have it bright and upside down, because there's no such thing as up or down in space. But yeah, definitely feel free to play with all of these mirrors and see what they all do. This is a convex mirror. This is mirror that'll lens that it spreads it out. You can put these two together and you see that it kind of negates what it's doing. But yeah, feel free to build on these. It has instructions on how to build one out to be a telescope, and other little fun things to do with them. So yeah, please read the instructions first, but enjoy. Alright, this is part of the Photon Playground. This is showing you focus with the and different things with the optics. So please read the full instructions before touching. You should only have to touch these little mirrors to move them, or these little lenses, and you can unplug and swap them. You shouldn't have to move the entire gantry. But ask for assistance if you need help with any of this. But you can see how focus works in a telescope with this. And you can also see how the F turns upside down on what you're focusing. And then if you swap these lenses, you can see it makes a smaller F, where the other way it was making a bigger F. You have to find the right focus point with it. Try using just one lens and see how they each work. One of them is concave and the other one's convex. So yeah, also you can look through, see the world through them. But yeah, enjoy and play with that. You can also move the F too if you want to get a tighter focus like that. Alright, this one is definitely do not touch until you've read the entire directions. There's 3 levels. Start with level 1. Do not try this one if you have a heart condition or a pacemaker, of course. Definitely ask for assistance, and one of the astronomers can give you a demonstration. What I'd recommend is start with these dials turned all the way down. This switch should be at lightning bolt, and then you should just go to the power strip that it's plugged into and turn it on. And you can see the static electricity there. Then if you want to change the things, turn it off. Then it's safe to reach in here. You can turn up the frequency, turn up the power, turn it back on. See, it's going faster. You want to see what the fastest, most powerful looks like. That's enough of that. And then turn it all the way back down so the next person doesn't get a jolt when they turn it on. But yeah, please only do this with assistance or after you've read the entire directions. This one is one of the more dangerous demonstrations we have out for you tonight. Alright, this is Ham. It's my friend. Don't touch him. He's really actually super rare, so that's the main reason don't touch him, is I don't want him to fall apart. He's 10 years old and they don't even make this anymore. This was made by the Sherper Image, if you can believe that. But yeah, he has his little harrowing story right here. If you want to give it a read, I will warn you that it isn't the best life he had, but if you want to hear the more cartoony version of it, it's pretty funny. He was the first chimp to go to space, and he, you know, chimps in space, it's basically that, Andy Samberg and all. The floor was electrocuted, and there was a banana pellet dispenser, and so if you push the right button, he would get a nice little banana pellet, and if you push the wrong button, he'd get a little shock to his feet. Sounds like a cartoon, but yeah, we'll warn away from reading the his actual story if you don't want to have a little bit of a haunting image with you, or at least more haunting than this. All right, today we're gonna explore the arcane arc field. This is a read full instructions before touching, so please read the entire instructions that are placed out next to it. Number 1 rules, no water. Keep all metal and electronics. So this phone here, we don't want to keep that next to it. Keep all those away and off your body. If you have a heart condition or pacemaker, certainly just observe this. Don't risk messing with it yourself. Those with heart conditions. no flammable materials. You don't want to, you know, put straight vodka in between the shocks or anything. And all onlockers should be at a safe distance. Nobody that hasn't read this full instructions is allowed to touch this. That's what the orange flag is for. So first we're going to make a spark. So only touch these plastic handles. Ours has these little blue tape on all the handles you can touch. And we're going to just set it so that there's a nice little gap between those two there. And then we're going to turn the crank. You don't have to turn the crank hard or anything. Just be respectful. And you'll see it makes a bunch of little sparks. Moving on to level 2, we can make bigger and bigger sparks by moving these, adjusting these handles further and further away. And you see the further away they are, the stronger the shock. And then there's an extra secret thing if you read the full instructions for you. And yeah, the space tie-in is that lightning happens all in Jupiter and Saturn, and even on a grand scale. Discharges of pulsars and magnetospheres. You're seeing a tiny version of the energies released when charging particles. Find a path to equalize. So yeah, this is building up a static charge. Basically each of these plates, oh, got a little shock there, but each of these plates might just have a slightly offset charge to them, and that's what you can see these crossbars bars that go opposite directions. That's what those are doing, is equalizing the charges on each side so that the plates have a stronger charge about them. Then these little teeth, they're called the combs, those are picking up these charges a little bit. As it passes each time, it puts those charges into these. These are called Leyden jars, and they act like a giant capacitor, and these hold the charge, and as it builds up the charge, then it's able to dissipate it and through the arcs there. You can see there's two belts here, one with a little twist in it so that these discs go opposite directions, which helps induce the opposite charges and induce more charge. Yeah, it's a really fun one to play with, but you've seen me slide it around here. Please don't touch anything but these handles. Where it should be set up, you should be able to just touch these handles and move around it and see all the sparks and everything. Oh, and you see that if you turn it the wrong direction, this handle becomes unscrewed and doesn't do anything. So make sure you're turning it the right direction there. But yeah, that's that one. Alright, this one you're going to need to look into the telescope a very specific way, and you'll see different things like space and cartoons, and the cartoon is of aliens eating different people, and that's what the instructions say, is if you don't obey any of the instructions, that's what happens to you. So watch out, there'll be a alien that'll attack you if you touch something you're not supposed to.